Hey guys, it's Alfonzo. In this video we're going to be talking about how reverse Polish notation works. So what is reverse Polish notation? It's a method for representing expressions in which the operator symbol is placed after the arguments being operated. An operator symbol is usually plus, minus, division, multiplication, square roots, etc. Arguments can be 13,800 plus 700, 600 minus 1500, or 6 times 89. Basically, you just put in your numbers in the calculator before you press your operator symbol. So 13,800 plus 700 would be 13,800, then 700, and then you add. 600 minus 1500 would become 600, 1500, and then you subtract. 6 times 89 would be 6, then 89, and then I multiply. So in those final examples, I showed how that would literally look like, so now we're gonna look at how that would look like in the calculator. So our example is 4,300 plus 10,800. So I insert 4,300. I press enter and that goes to the top. Then I insert 10,800 and then it's at the bottom, and then I add. My answer should be 1.51 times 10 to the 4th power. Let's go over that again. 4,300, and then I enter, and I put 10,800, and then I press the plus sign, and I get my result. So we're going to be going over a few examples. You're free to work on them by yourself. Just pause the video whenever you would want. However, there might be stuff you may not know, but I'll be addressing them in these videos. So, remember to solve using order of operations. I was taught Pemdas, however, if you were taught something else, as long as it's order of operations, it does apply. Also, something I want to mention is to solve from left to right. So I will start from 44.9 and then end at 269. And whenever we get to them on fractions, you will solve from top to bottom or numerator to denominator. So we're going to be going over this video. So I'm going to put 44.9 first, and then I press enter, and then I put 265, and then I add, and then I put 102, and then I subtract, then I put 122, and then I subtract, and then I put 269, and then I add. Your answer should be 3.55 times 10 to the 2nd power. So whenever we were going through that video, you may have noticed that I did work from left to right. Similar to reading text, you're going to be working like that with these equations as well. This is our second example, another reminder to solve using order of operations and left to right. So I put in 184 first since it's at the leftmost, and then I start working within the brackets. Then I put 183, then I multiply, and then 78, and then I multiply. And once I get that, I multiply it by 184. So you can actually work another way with this equation. You could solve within the brackets and then multiply it by 184. But if you do this correctly, you should get about the same result, since you're just moving 184 to the other side. Your answer should be 3.94 times 10 to the 8th. So remember when I said to solve from left to right and top to bottom? So whenever you have fractions, you solve first at the numerator, and then after you finish, you go to the denominator. Another reminder to solve using Pemdas as well, and we're gonna go over this. So start off with 3.93 times 10 to the 9th. Remember in the scientific notation video that E represents times 10, so instead of writing times 10, I'm going to be putting in E in the E button right here. And after you press E, you're going to be putting in the exponent, so in this case, it would be 9. This also is going to be applied to 6.00 times 10 to the 9th. Then I add. Now I start working in the denominator. I do negative 0.606, then I put 0.496, and then I multiply, remember Pemdas, and then I subtract 0.283. Now I can divide, since the numerator is on the top, the denominator is on the bottom. Your answer should be negative 1.70 times 10 to the 10th. Okay, another reminder to solve using order of operations and left to right and top to bottom. In this equation, I'm actually going to be working within the square root, and then once I get my result here, I'm going to square root it. Let's look at that in the video. Now I have 49.5, and then I have, oh, excuse me. So I'm actually going to replay this. So I'm going to be starting with 28.8, not 49.5, my bad. So I enter 28.8, then press enter, and then for pi, I'm going to be pressing yellow shift key and cosine for pi, and then I can add, then I have 49.5, and then I add. Now I can press the square root. Time to work on the bottom, 8.56, and then 26.1, or 26.5, excuse me, and add, and then 21. And now, since everything's in the parentheses, and the exponent is on the outside, once I get my result on the inside, then I can do it to the second power. That is the blue shift key and square root for squaring it. Now I can divide. So that may have been complicated. I'll go over this again. So I'm going to start for 28.8, then yellow shift key cosine for pi. Now I can add, and then 49.5, and then I add, then I press square root. Now I can work on the denominator, 8.56, and then subtract 26.5, and then I add 21. For squaring, it is blue shift key and square root. That squares it, and now I can divide since the numerator is on the top and the denominator is on the bottom. Your answer should be 9.64 times 10 to the negative first. So this is one of our last examples. Another reminder to solve using PEMDAS and left to right, top to bottom. So I'll be talking about what RAD means in this video so that you guys know. So I go into mode, and then I press 2 for RAD, and it should pop up at the top as RAD. And I did 1.27, and then I press sine. Now I can work in the denominator, 981 divided by 501. Now I can divide again, and your answer should be 4.88 times 10 to the negative first. You actually want to go into a different mode after you've finished solving. See, when you're in the top, it says RAD. You actually want to go back to DEG by pressing mode again, and then 1 for DEG. So let's go over that example again. I press mode, and then I go into RAD for radians. And this should pop up at the top. And then I do 1.27 sine 981 divided by 501. And then I divide again. That's your answer. You want to go back into DEG by pressing mode, and then 1 for DEG. As you see in the top, RAD disappears. Now you're back in DEG. So if you didn't understand this completely, that's fine. I'll be going over some tips and tricks in the next video and maybe elaborating more on entering. So I'll see you guys next time.